This matter is before the court for a hearing today concerning alleged violation of this court's personal protective order granted in favor of Hunter Vandervelde against Mr. Van Beek. The prosecutor is here to represent the petitioner, and Mr. Van Beek is here pro se, that is without counsel today. So as an initial matter, I'm going to invite the prosecutor to put your appearance on the record, and then I'll have Mr. Van Beek state and spell his name for the record. So Ms. McNabb.
Thank you, Your Honor. Laura McNabb on behalf of Hunter Vandervelde.
Thank you. And Mr. Van Beek, would you state and spell your full name for the record, please? You're muted, sir.
Can you hear me?
Can now.
Okay. Michael Van Beek, Michael, capital VAN, capital BEEK.
Thank you, sir. All right. And Ms. McNabb, these are incidents that occurred quite some time ago, because I think this was dated December of 22. So why don't you go ahead and proceed?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to call Tina. I just clicked. Tina Vanvelde?
Vandervelde, yes.
Okay, thank you. And Tina, how do you know Hunter?
He is my son.
Okay. Do you have a guardianship over Hunter?
I do.
Okay, and how long has that been in place?
Since he turned 18, and he's 25, so.
Okay. So as Hunter's guardian, did you apply for this PPO?
I did.
Okay. Do you remember roughly when you applied for it?
I believe the original PPO was back in April or May of 2022.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, okay,
on the month, but.
And to the best of your knowledge, is that PPO still in place?
It is.
And are you still Hunter's guardian?
I am.
Okay. Excellent. So let's go back to the day in question. It looks like we're talking about December of 2022. Do you recall what happened in that month?
Yes, that was he violated the PPO by I believe it, not in addition to not making it to court, but he also violated it several times before that, and I think he was appearing in court for that reason.
Okay. Can you speak about these times he violated the PPO, or you believe he violated the PPO?
Since then, I know he's violated the PPO, like I said, in regards to driving the vehicle close to Hunter. Hunter walks on the sidewalk, not on the street. And November of 2022, it happened one time. Don't recall the exact date. It was in the middle of the month. December, it happened twice. And then January of this year, he's did it twice.
Okay. And when you say drive near Hunter, can you describe what you mean by that? Is he swerving? Is he simply driving down the street?
He's driving down the road, but he gets closer, as close as he can possibly get to Hunter, because I can tell the difference by the sound of the vehicle when he's close and when he's not close. When I'm with Hunter, the sound is totally different than the times that he's been driving close to Hunter in that recording device that Hunter wears in his pocket.
Okay, and that recording device is how you can hear the car. Okay.
Yes.
Have you listened to the recording device when you're there?
Oh, like yes.
Okay, and are you saying it sounds different?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay. And speaking about this day in December now of 2022, you made some allegations in your motion to show cause that Mr. Van Beek was speaking to Hunter. Can you expound on that?
I'll be honest with you. Back in December, I know that there was times that he was attempting to speak to Hunter, but in regards to what was said, I do not recall. It's been so long ago.
Okay.
Do you recall? Hunter might recall it.
Okay. Well, I'll give Hunter a chance
Okay.
once we're done with you.
Okay.
And then since this incident, has Mr. Van Beek left Hunter alone?
Verbally, yes, other than the driving by, yes. Yeah, I don't believe that he has attempted to speak to Hunter.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Van Beek, what kind of vehicle is it that you have at least heard try to pass close to Hunter?
It would be two different vehicles. One, his work vehicle, which is a vehicle that I believe carries tires. And the other
It's a
vehicle
truck
is his
then?
yes. And
Okay.
the other vehicle is his personal vehicle. Once with the truck and once with a white, I want to say like a Xeon or whatever those things. They're like a box car.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I know what you're referring to. It's some kind of a Kia Soul, maybe. Oh,
It could be,
maybe
yes.
not.
I don't recall the make and model. I know it's a white one and it looks like a box.
Okay. Yeah, Scion makes a boxy looking one too. So that's real not a critical piece of information. But and when you say there's different noise when he goes close to Hunter, what is the difference in the noise if you can describe it to me?
The motor is much louder, and when I'm with him, you can clearly tell he's driving right down the road at a different rate of speed and further away from Hunter. When I am not with Hunter, you can hear it so loud that it's like he's right on top of Hunter. And you can tell that he speeds up because the sound of the motor is different.
Okay, what I would describe as the motor revving or making an acceleration noise, and it's louder because it's closer.
Correct.
Do you observe the truck when it's close to Hunter as well, or have you observed it, or is it just the sound?
Just the sound. I have not been with him to observe it. He does not do it when I'm with Hunter.
I see. Okay, and you can't watch from your house or anything like that to see it happening.
It happens closer to the in between the park area and home. They literally live kitty corner behind us, but Hunter comes from the park area towards our home, and Michael has to go from that same area to get to his house, so he passes by Hunter in the interim to get there.
And when Hunter's walking between that park area and your home, is he coming back from the bus stop? Why does he walk that route?
He walks back from a friend's or from playing with friends at the park, and he's on the sidewalk because Hunter does not walk in the street unless he's crossing the street to get to a friend's.
Okay. All right. Okay, I think those are all my questions. Mr. Van Beek, and I should let you know kind of the procedure that we follow in a hearing like this, so you can cross-examine any of the prosecutor's witnesses, that is, ask them questions limited to the subjects that they were questioned on, or anything else that you think might be important to your case. And then you'll also get a chance to testify on your own behalf when you put on your own case. So you don't have to put all your evidence in now. These would just be if you do have any questions for Miss Tina Vandervelde.
Nope, I don't.
Okay, very well then, Miss. Any follow-ups, Miss McNabb?
No, Your Honor.
Miss Vandervelde, you may step down from the witness stand. Any additional witnesses at this time, Miss McNabb?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to briefly call Hunter Vandervelde.
Very well, Hunter. Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth today?
Yes.
Very good. And you know what telling the truth is. That is, if I tell you there is a cat sitting next to you, and you know darn well it's your mom sitting next to you, I'm telling a lie, right?
Speak.
You have to speak, yes, so I can. We record all this stuff, Hunter. So it's we're making a record. But you understand the difference between a truth and a lie?
Yes.
Very good. All right, you may proceed, Miss McNabb.
You, Hunter, could you please state your name for the record?
Hunter Vandervelde.
Okay, thank you. And Hunter, I just wanted one question just to follow up from your mother's testimony. Do you remember any of the things that are alleged that Mr. Van Beek said to you in December of last year?
Trying to think right now because I'm very nervous right now to say because, but I'm trying to think of it while I'm talking actually right now.
That's okay.
Because
And
I
if,
don't usually speak during court ever, and I'm very nervous to say it's my first time speaking on court.
and if you don't recall, you can just say you don't recall. That's fine.
Far as I know, I don't quite remember. So far as I know, it wasn't really it wasn't really nice, but I was trying to avoid.
Okay, and then can you just briefly talk when you're walking back? Do you see Mr. Van Beek in his car?
Yes.
Okay, and does he seem to go faster when he sees you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
Hunter, when Mr. Van Beek goes near you in the car, does he say anything or is it just him in the car at that point?
Trying to think. Sorry about that.
No, take your time.
Well, far as I know, I'm trying to think here. My mind's really blank right now. I'm trying to think here, so, far as I know, the first time when he was driving close, I think he, did say something. I don't recall what it was, but it wasn't very nice, as far as I know. Then the second time and beyond that, he didn't say nothing. He just drove right by, speeding and all that, and trying to go near me, and I'm trying to get away.
And you're walking on the sidewalk at the time that he's driving near you?
Yes.
Okay. And how near can he get to you? Is it near enough that you could touch the car?
Yes.
Okay. So, were you afraid he was going to come closer and actually hit you with his car?
Yes.
Okay. All right. No, I think I understand. About how far is it between the edge of that sidewalk and the edge of where the road ends?
Right here next to my mother. It's really that close.
Oh, it's
It's
real
like,
close there. Okay. So there
yeah,
isn't like a super
it's like
wide
my
curve.
hand is like about, yep, it's
Yep.
like right here all the way to there. It's that
Okay.
close.
All right. So pretty close. All right. No, thank you, Hunter. Those are all my questions. Do you have any questions for Hunter Vandervelde, Mr. Van Beek?
I do.
Go ahead.
So you say that I supposedly try to swerve to hit you or purposely hit you. Every time that you have been outside since this whole PPO thing, I have always moved all the way over to the median, almost on the grass towards the other side. How is it that I always go over there and every time I drive by you, you always get off of the sidewalk and go into the grass of the right next to it? So can you try to explain how I still try to hit you if you move over up into the grass from the sidewalk every time I drive by you?
I'm scared.
Yeah, it was kind of a long question. Let me see if I can clarify. Mr. Van Beek, are you saying he moves closer to the road in the grass or away from the road?
So ever since this PPO has been out, every time he sees me either leaving the park or coming, every time he sees any vehicle I'm driving, he always moves into the grass away from the road until I go by, which I'm fine with. That's perfectly fine. I always stay all the way over to the left. So I'm trying to figure out, my question is how am I supposedly trying to hit him if he's walking up into other people's yards when I'm passing him?
All right. Well, I think maybe that question is something along the lines of why do you walk into the grass in other people's yards when you see Mr. Van Beek's truck coming?
That will work.
Or
He
do you?
doesn't he does not understand I can help with that if I can be re-brought in, but he doesn't
Well, you
understand.
said you didn't really see the incidents when the truck came close. This is going to be Hunter's testimony. I guess Hunter, is that your memory? Is that when you see that truck go past that you go away from the road and into the grass to put some space between you and the street?
Do you go off the sidewalk, is what he's saying, towards the grass so you can avoid the vehicle, or do you stay on the sidewalk?
If she stay on the sidewalk unless he gets close, then I have to just dip so he don't hit me.
Okay, that's why you'd go on the grass. Is your testimony today is, at least from your perception, that vehicle's coming close to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And
Yes.
another follow-up question I had, Hunter, is your mom talked about the different sounds. Did you hear different sounds coming from the vehicle as well?
Yes.
What do those sound like as best you can describe?
Well, I have very sensitive hearing, so it really hurts my ears really, really bad because I can't take loud noises, you know what I mean? I'm trying to get away and stuff, and it gets really loud, so it hurts my ears when it gets closer, but I can hear it from farther away because how loud the vehicle is.
Okay. All right. I think I understand what you're saying. Any other follow-up questions, Mr. Van Beek?
Yeah, I do have one. There is supposedly a recording device, both video and audio, that Hunter wears every time he leaves his house. If these accusations that are being brought against me of trying to purposely drive into him, is there a way that you guys can provide that video footage so that way I can see for myself?
I guess that could be to either Hunter or Miss Van de Velde.
Yes.
That would be me, myself. As I said, Hunter wears that in his pocket, so the video is not recorded unless he takes it out of his pocket. So only audio is recorded while in pocket. And that video would not be accessible because there is no video. Audio would be accessible.
Do you have that with you today?
I do not have it with me today. It's on my phone, but to locate that, I be honest with you, I have literally thousands of hours of footage.
Okay.
Because I have to
I see. So
record other.
sure, because it's on all the time, and you'd have to go and
Correct.
figure out which ones were relevant. So okay, all right, I
Correct.
understand.
Okay, so with that being said, since how there is no video and there is only recording of a vehicle passing by, how are we to know that it is exactly my vehicles coming by, and how do we know exactly which vehicle it is that is driving? There are multiple vehicles that go the same way I do daily, and it's just so happens that it's my vehicle every time.
And I guess that would be to Hunter, since Hunter sees these vehicles. Hunter, do you recognize Mr. Van Beek's vehicles?
Yes.
What kind? How would you describe them best you can?
I know it's a big vehicle and it's a work vehicle, as far as I know, and
You mean a big truck?
usually, yes, it's a work vehicle. That's a big truck. It's very big and all that, has tires in the back or whatever.
It's got an
And
open back so you can see what's in there.
yeah,
Okay. And he works for a tire
like
business?
you can actually. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask. I said it sounds like he works for a tire business, so sometimes there'd be tires stacked up in there, probably.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead with what you were going to describe, Hunter. I cut you off.
Okay, it's okay. I was like trying. What was I gonna say, Mom?
He's asking you to describe the vehicle.
Okay. You can actually see like through it because it's built to where like that vehicle, I could see the tires in there and all that, and whatever's in that vehicle and all that, and I could tell what the vehicle looked like. I've seen it like for a long time now, for years, I never for years now, I know he never did that, but now since he does do that, it's I mean he always drives close to me. It's really scary for me now, and I'm trying to get away as much as possible.
Okay, thank you. And how about his other vehicle? Do you recognize any other vehicles that he drives besides that work truck?
Yes, that little small vehicle that looks like a shoebox or whatever you call it. It looks like a Kia, right?
Kia or a Scion? I'm thinking of these kind of square like
Yeah, I don't
cars I
really
know.
remember the name, but I know what it looks like too.
Okay. All right. No, yeah, I don't remember the make, but now, and he's driven past closer than you're comfortable with both the truck and that littler car, right?
Oh, what was
He-
he?
Can you ask that question again? He didn't understand that.
Yeah,
Eh,
I'm confused.
Yeah, has he driven when he's been driving this car that's littler than the work truck? Has he driven that too close to you or just the work truck?
I don't remember. I don't recall about the car, that little small shoe car, but I do remember the work truck more. But maybe it was once. I'm not 100% sure when I say this here, but it was probably once. He's probably done it with his normal vehicle, not the work vehicle. But same time, no, I was trying to get away in the same time so I don't get hit or anything and stuff like that. And I was really scared that I was gonna get hit, and I didn't want to get hit.
Okay, I think that's I think well, I'll ask any follow-ups, Mr. Van Beek.
No more.
All right. And any follow-up questions, Ms. McNabb?
No follow-up questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, very good. Then Hunter, you may step down from the witness stand. Any additional witnesses or evidence to present at this time?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. And now is your turn, Mr. Van Beek. Do you wish to present any witnesses or evidence?
No witnesses. I do not have evidence. Unfortunately, my work truck does not have dash footage. My personal vehicles do not have dash footage. So I don't have any evidence or no witnesses, but I will bring myself to the stand if I may, Your Honor.
Yep, let me swear you in and you can say your piece. If you raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony today will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, you may proceed.
So I am in front of this court on accusations of purposely driving super fast towards Hunter, swerving purposely towards Hunter every time I leave and exit the trailer park. There are no video footage. There are multiple cars daily leaving this trailer park day in and day out. And all we have is just sound of cars coming by. No one is 100% sure that they are my vehicles or somebody else's vehicles. How I'm being charged for violating this PPO is wrong with me personally without video proof. Because right now it's just going by just noise, and it could be any vehicle. There are multiple big trucks going in that park. There are multiple regular cars. I feel like that is not very accurate. And then as far as me breaking it for shouting out obscenities to Hunter, that is a false. I do not speak to him. I do not speak to his mother. I have not spoken to them since these PPOs have been put in place. It is not something that I can afford to go to jail for breaking or violating the PPO. They know this. I make it a point to avoid them. I also have cameras in place, and Hunter, I have video footage of Hunter walking in the street multiple times. So the walking on the sidewalk only is indeed a lie. And if need to, I can email video footage of him walking in the street and standing in the streets, and in particular outside my home. That is perfectly fine. I can do that. But
Is there a sidewalk outside your home, Mr. Envy?
yes, the sidewalk goes all the way down the main road. There's sidewalks on both sides of the road. There's one right
Okay,
in
so
front of
you
my
always
house.
have the option to walk on a sidewalk.
Yes,
Okay,
but
right.
he does not. When he walks past my house, he walks in the road, and I have called him multiple times, just staring down at my home. That is also on video, and there are photos of that. So I do have that, and I do have witnesses to that too, currently not here with me today. But Your Honor, the recording of just the noise of the vehicles passing Hunter, that no one can really say if that is my vehicles or if it's somebody else's vehicles. I drive 15 miles an hour every day in that trailer park. That is the speed limit in there. I either drive 15 miles an hour or I go slower. Every time I see anybody walking, it doesn't matter if they don't like me or they're friends with me. I move all the way over to the opposite side so I am as far away from them as possible. With my job and what I do, I cannot risk my license or my job to purposely try to hit anybody. I am a DOT regulated operator of a commercial vehicle. I cannot afford that, and I would not jeopardize my job or me spending time in jail to purposely do that.
Can you describe your work truck a little bit for me, Mr. Van Beek?
It is a Ford F-550. It is it's a pretty long truck. It has a little miniature crane on it. The back, yes, you can see in it. I carry tires. I'm a roadside service technician. I go all over the place to do tire work. That truck is naturally loud because it is a diesel. So it does sound different when you step on the gas and when you let off of it. But that is my work truck. It is pretty bulky, and that truck is very wide, so it is very hard to get that away from pedestrians walking if the road is so small, but I do the best I can.
And you're referring to when a pedestrian's walking in the road.
Walking on the sidewalk or in the road. If they're walking
Okay.
in the road, I usually stop, let them move out of the way, and then I proceed. If they're walking on the sidewalk, I try to get over far enough to where I won't be super close, but yet not too close to where I won't hit my mirror on something on that side.
And it sounds like the sidewalk in the park is pretty darn close to the edge of the road.
Pretty much the sidewalk is the edge of the road. It is a sidewalk, but it is literally right off the road. There's not like a curb or anything. It is literally part of the road pretty much.
I understand. And yeah, when we originally said that, I'm thinking of the sidewalks in Grand Rapids and things where there is a little curb there. But it sounds like in the park that you reside in, there isn't that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Anything else you would like to say, Mr. Van Beek?
At this time, no.
All right. Do you have any cross-examination questions, Ms. McNabb?
Just one briefly, Your Honor. Mr. Van Beek, so I just want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly. It's your position that since this PPO was granted in June of 2022, you have not spoken to Mr. Vandervelde or Ms. Vandervelde?
No, not since the PPO has been stated. I have not spoken or come in contact with either one of them.
Okay.
The
And-
time that they are referring that I came in contact was when my relatives were served with the same PPO before me, and then they proceeded to harass my family. That was the only time. But after I found out I was received, that is correct. I have not come in contact with neither one of them to violate a PPO.
And just so I can get the timeline correct, when did you become aware of the PPO?
I actually did not know of the PPO until I got pulled over by a Kent County Sheriff officer, and he had walked up and informed me that I had a warrant out for a violation for failure to appear, apparently for the first time for the PPO. I did not receive any paperwork on the PPO or anything, so I was not made aware that I had a PPO. And that was back, I want to say about a year and a half to 2 years ago, is when I was made aware that there was a PPO out against me, actually.
Okay, so there was a bench warrant out for failure to appear a year to a year and a half ago on this PPO?
I believe so. It's been a while since I went, but I want to say it was about a year and a half ago. I actually spent the night in the jail, and I actually got bonded out by a friend because of it.
Okay.
I don't recall the exact date.
Okay, so I'm looking at the file here, and I'm looking at the proof of service by a court officer that states you were served with the PPO on June 16th of 2022. Do you recall that?
No, I don't. Because
Okay.
I have never been, if I would have been served, I would have made it a point to appear before the judge at the hearings and everything.
Okay. Just briefly, just to try to jog your memory, there's a note on here that it says that you claimed you were not served because the address listed is not your address, and that you threw the paperwork out the door of your truck after the court officer gave it to you. Does that jog your memory at all?
I remember the day in questioning, that particular day, I was heading back to work. I was on a brief lunch break. I left my home. Somebody had said something about me being in the park, I'm assuming. Someone was chasing me down, and all I know is I pulled over, they pulled behind me. A woman got out of the vehicle and threw some papers at my truck, and it did not make it in my truck, but they just threw papers at my truck. I didn't know what they were. She didn't announce herself. She didn't announce her name, who she was with. I honestly thought it was one of the Vanderbilt's friends or family trying to chase me down to harass me or whatever. So as soon as I realized that she's throwing stuff at my truck, I had left the area. I didn't want to have any contact with them. So if that was a court appointed server, she did it improperly, and she lied on the signature part because I never received it.
Okay, and you're claiming that you never actually spoke to her?
No, I never spoke to her. She jumped out of her car and threw papers at me. It landed on the ground, never landed inside my truck. I never physically touched it. After that, I drove off. I didn't want any part of it.
Okay. And do you recall her saying that you've been served and you saying, no, I'm not?
No, because her and I, we never exchanged words. She didn't say anything. She just got out, threw it at me, and started walking back towards her door. I never spoke to her.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
All right, I have another one, Mr. Van Beek here. I think there's another note here on a separate service. This one looks like it was attempted, well, this is the extension of the PPO. Different process server, also female, Julie McLean, trying to serve you, it appears, at the home at 301 Dukes Court, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Served party Mike Van Beek. It also says refused to sign, refused to take his copy. Do you recall that time?
No, I do not recall that time.
So you're saying she's lying too?
I'm not saying she's lying, but I don't recall that time. At that time, at the 301 Dukes Court, I was staying with my parents and my little brother. So if it was not me that answered the door, it was probably somebody else. Your Honor, I work a lot. When I am home, I'm pretty much relaxing in bed. But if I was home, I would have answered the door for somebody, but I do not recall answering the door for a server to try to give me paperwork.
This indicates it would have been February 28th, so almost a year ago, 2023, 6:15 p.m. But you're saying your work hours might have made it so that was someone else?
It very well could have been. It could have been my younger brother. Unfortunately, that's been so long, I do not recall. But I'm not saying that one she is lying. She very well could have tried to serve me at that address, but I personally have no recollection of any servers trying to serve me at that address.
Okay. And it sounds to me like what you're saying here is, Judge, I'm not trying to disregard the court's orders or show that they don't mean anything to me by avoiding service.
Correct. Correct. I'm not trying to avoid any of that. Like if I was getting served in anything and I seen an envelope and a court appointed person, I would take it. I really don't need to go to spend nights in jail or anything over something so idiotic and not receiving PPO stuff. So
I
I would
agree.
not.
That would be foolish if it's easy to obey the order to spend time in jail
Correct.
because you're not obeying it. Okay. All right. I think those are the total of my questions. Anything else you would like to say, Mr. Van Beek?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And any other questions, Ms. McNabb?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
All right, then,
can
Mr.
I
Van Beek,
add?
you may step down from the witness stand. Oh, do you want a breakout room with Ms. McNabb, Ms. Van de Velde? You can't ask any questions because you're represented, but
Okay.
I can put you in a breakout room with Ms. McNabb if you'd like to talk to her for a minute.
I actually have more things to say to you if I could in regards to what Michael has stated.
Oh, so you'd like to be called potentially as like a rebuttal
Yes.
witness? Well, I'll
Please,
give
yes.
Ms. McNabb an opportunity to call you back to the stand then. Ms. McNabb, do you have any rebuttal witnesses?
I will call Miss Tina Vandervelde.
All right, Ms. Van de Velde, you remain under oath. And Ms. McNabb, you may ask any questions that you have.
All right. Ms. Vandervelde, you heard Mr. Van Beek's testimony and my questions to him. Is there anything that you would like to add?
Yes, there is. There's several things I'd like to add in regards to his testimony. Let's start with back when he was served, and he mentioned that the officer had thrown the paperwork at him. I was not there during this, but that same court officer, which I paid to serve that paperwork, called me immediately afterwards, and she told me that she did hand that paperwork to said person. That person threw that paperwork back at her. He failed to sign. And then Julie McLean, the person that served him in February, she would know exactly who Michael is because she is the park manager's assistant manager at the time. And she knew who Michael's brother was, David. And David is considerably larger than Michael. So she would know that it was definitely Michael and not David. In regards to Hunter walking in front of Michael's home and not on the sidewalk, he has strict instructions from myself and his care workers that come into our home that he is not allowed to walk on Michael's sidewalk or anywhere near Michael's house for fear of retaliation. And in addition to that, Michael did violate that PPO originally because he failed to show in court. That's why he was arrested. He wasn't arrested for any other reason that I know of, because he violated. So there was a bench warrant put out for his arrest. Now, to the best of my knowledge, Michael was present at several of the court hearings that took place with his mother and his brother. Michael got combative with the judge during at least one of those court hearings. So Michael knew clearly what was going on and when his dates were, because his and also too, Michael, which is mentioned in one of these court hearings, Michael at the pool facility in a work uniform was verbally yelling at my son and calling my son a pedal and a
Yeah, that was the basis for the original PPO, if I'm recollecting, right?
correct. And he
That was why
continues to do that. Yes.
Grant, and you're saying, well, and I don't have that one before me now as a violation that happened after he was served with the PPO. Where right now sounds like we're focused in on the issues involving the vehicle, so I'd like to keep it focused on that for now.
Oh, yes, sir. I was just touching base where he stated that he had not verbally touched base with Hunter at any point in time. Since he was served with the PPO and the re-upping of the PPO at that pool, when he removed his shirt because he had claimed that he wouldn't get in trouble wearing a work uniform. And that's why he removed the work shirt, because it was being talked about at the pool when Hunter was in the pool or play area.
I see. Okay. All right. No, I think I understand where you're coming from. I did have a follow-up question for you, Ms. Vandervelde. In your experience, are there times when Hunter walks on the roadside instead of on the sidewalk?
The only time he would not walk on the sidewalk is to avoid Michael or avoid a car that is close by him. That's when he crosses the street to see a friend, because he's got to get to the other side of the road. That's when he walks in the street.
Are there sidewalks on both sides or just one side?
Both sides.
Okay. All right. Okay. And they're real. And you agree with what Mr. Van Beek said, is those sidewalks are very close to the road.
They are.
Okay. All right. No, I think I got a picture of what's happening. Any further questions, Ms. McNabb?
No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any cross-examination questions, Mr. Van Beek, that would be related to the testimony that Ms. Vandervelde just gave?
Yes, actually, I do. So you say that Hunter is told to avoid walking in front of my home. Is that correct?
On the sidewalk, correct. He will avoid your home.
Okay. If it pleases the court and pleases you guys, I have video proof of it. It seems how you just said that he is instructed not to cross in front of my home, and there are several other ways to get past my home. I have video proof of yesterday of Hunter and a couple of his friends walking directly in front of my home and stopped and stood directly in front of my home. So if it does please everybody and would like video proof, I can find that video, that particular footage, and I can send it to the judge himself.
Okay, well, I will allow the submission of it because, well, I mean, what's your position on that, Ms. McNabb?
Your Honor, I would object because under NRA Kabunk, Mish App 252, 256 through 258, when determining if a PPO has been violated, a court must look only to the behavior of the individual against whom the PPO is being held, which is Mr. Van Beek, as well as we're talking about, for the most part, incidents that happened last December. So what Mr. Vandervelde is doing yesterday is not really relevant.
I understand what you're saying, and I think that what Mr. Van Beek is saying is he would introduce that as a method of impeachment of the truthfulness of Mr. Vandervelde and Miss Vandervelde's testimony today, with a, you know, what it is, and it's extrinsic evidence. That is, it's not evidence that's related to any of the issues. We're here about cars coming too close to him. And this would be evidence that he walked by the house, which does contradict a point, but it's not a point that's central to my determination today. So I'll uphold the objection and not allow the video evidence of him in front of the house. However, I have heard your testimony today that he does go in front of the house and violates it, and we'll take that into consideration. Or not violates it because he doesn't have a protective order, but nonetheless, it counters what he said on the record today.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Very good. Anything else, Mr. Van Beek?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, then, anything additional you'd like to say, like a closing statement, Mr. Van Beek?
Actually, I would, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
So for my closing statement, with the reason upon this court hearing for the violation of driving too close to the individual, how am I supposed to, they're practically telling me I cannot leave or come home from work. He's walking every day. He's outside every day. I don't care. But if I'm gonna keep being accused of driving too close to the individual, they're pretty much telling me I have to stay confined into my home and I am not allowed to leave my property. I feel like this violation and the reason for this court hearing is just not necessary. And again, the recording, all that is on there is just recording of vehicles passing by Hunter. No actual way of telling if they're my vehicles or if they're somebody else's vehicles. I feel like I'm just being singled out and called out because of the issues they have with me. I just feel like I'm not supposed to be leaving my home at all and make a living for myself with all these accusations. I feel like I'm supposed to be trapped inside of a house. It's honestly not fair on my behalf because of a recording of audio and not identifying exactly what vehicle or who it is. That's all I have to say, that, Your Honor.
All right. Well, for some clarity for me, do you actually live there at 301 Dukes Court?
No, that property, that particular home has been demolished. I had my office manager demolish it because that home was no longer livable. I now currently live at a different address, and as Miss Vandervelde had mentioned, we are pretty much kitty corner from each other. Her backyard, her front yard meets my backyard.
Okay,
but
and that's your current home?
Yes, Your Honor, that is my current home.
Okay. And then second question I didn't ask you the first time around, is there an alternative route where you could take in and out of the trailer park where you would completely avoid ever seeing Hunter?
There is not, Your Honor. That main road is my way to my house and from my house to leave the park. There is no alternative way. That's the only entrance and exit to our trailer park.
Okay. All right. No, all right. That clarifies it for me. Any final statement, Ms. McNabb?
Your Honor, just that Mr. Van Beek has been very inconsistent. We have proof from via our court officers who tried to serve him that he had notice of the PPO as early as June 16th of 2022, which means that these incidents that Hunter and Ms. Van Velde are complaining about happened in December of 2022, which is well past the time when he had notice of the PPO. He also completely discounts Hunter's testimony and ID of his vehicle and himself driving. So I would ask that the court find him to be in violation.
And I have to find, because I can't confine him, this has to be beyond a reasonable doubt, correct, Mr. McNabb?
It does, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. Well, I have heard the testimony today and I've evaluated it. I basically have Ms. Van Velde's testimony that she's heard these recordings and it sounds to her different. But as Mr. Van Beek accurately points out, it would be difficult for her to, of course, tell, other than Hunter telling her that's when this car went past me, you know, which car was which. However, I have heard Hunter's testimony, and I do find Hunter credible today that that truck on at least an occasion has gotten too close to him for comfort. And further, he also testified that his hearing's exceptionally sensitive, and that you know, he can also hear when the vehicle's coming closer to him. That's something that's well within the experience of a regular person. In fact, a personal pet peeve of mine, when I'm walking through a crosswalk and someone swerves their vehicle close enough for me to touch, I always think that's too darn close. And by the same respect, I know when vehicles are going past me and it's not threatening in any respect to me. So I do find that Hunter could find that. I don't believe that Mr. Van Beek is doing that every time, and I don't discount the fact that Mr. Van Beek might have on different occasions given adequate space when he goes past Hunter, which it sounds like he has to do in coming and going with his work vehicle from his residence. However, based on a finding that there was at least one time where he intentionally went too close and violated the protective order, that is within the proximity, because after all, I could order you to move and live somewhere else. I'm not doing that. I rarely do that with protective orders. Mr. Van Beek, because, you know, I do want people to be able to live within the terms of the protective order, be able to make a living and be able to stay in their residence. However, if that's not possible, then, you know, I can toss you in jail. That'll take away your ability to make the living, and it'll take you out of that residence. I don't want to do that. I think from what I've heard today is after some, you know, and I heard your outburst, as I'll characterize it, when I was, you know, in the hearing with this regarding your parents. I realize there's bad blood between the families and that I can order whatever I want to order, and it's not going to solve that. But I do expect people to conduct themselves with the order. And I also take it, you know, we didn't hear testimony from any of the process servers today. However, I do know that process servers, because it is their job that they're doing for a living, they try to do things right. And generally, when they swear an affidavit that they send to me that says I served that, or by handing it to a person in their hand, or that a person refused to take it, they know what they're talking about. So, you know, and that would be further evidence that at least at some points of this process, Mr. Van Beek, you have disregarded the court's order. As I said, my sentence at this time will be 30 days in jail, suspended. You're going to pay a $250 fine. I want that paid within the next month. So no later than, what are we at here? January 12th. I will give you until February 28th, end of the month of February, to pay a $250 fine to the court. That actually, in these PPOs, it goes to the library board. So you don't even have to, it's not going into my pocket. It's not going into the opponent's pocket. It's going towards a good cause so that the library can maintain the books and programs for kids and things of that nature. So $250 fine payable to the PPO office for the violation. You pay it by the end of next month. and I won't send you to jail. You don't pay it or you violate again, and I get more of these violations, I'm just going to lift that suspension. You'll be in the jail for 30 days. You'll have to figure out how much that's going to cost you financially and otherwise, and make your own decision regarding that. I think it sounds to me like, though it's taken some time, you've kind of settled in here and learned what's required by the court's order. If you have any questions about that, it remains in place. I certainly want you to follow that order down to the letter so we can avoid these hearings, because I agree there are better things to do with everyone's time. I will make a note here, Mr. Van Beek, that it's very clear to me, whatever bad blood between the family, that Hunter Vandervelde is a young person. He has a guardian. That means he suffers from a developmental disability that makes him unable to make his own lifetime decisions, like you and I can necessarily, about when to pay bills and eat meals and take medicine and things like that. And his mom fills in for him. I certainly find, in my practice that people with disabilities like that get extra protection under the law. And it's totally my intention to protect Hunter to the full extent of the law from any extra harassment. I would hate to think that in addition to the challenges he already confronts on a day-to-day basis and deals with, that he has to be scared when he's walking down the sidewalk and getting hit by a car. Because I do believe what he said today, that happened on at least one occasion. So I want you to do this, pay the money, learn your lesson, avoid the time in jail, continue to avoid the protective order. And that's my final judgment of the day. You do have the right to appeal it, Mr. Van Beek, along with the order from this hearing. I will send you a copy of a document that would ask me to appoint a lawyer at no charge. That would be to represent you on your appeal if you can't afford a lawyer. If you do want to do that, you do have to return that to me, and you have to do it within the next 6 months. I will get you those documents outlining my decision today. Protective order remains in place. I am grateful compared to the last time I think I saw you in court, Mr. Van Beek, when you were combative. You were very polite and clearly spoken today. I think that speaks to your ability to do what needs to be done to follow the law. That's what I'm asking here, and these are called peace bonds. They're supposed to keep the peace in the community. I think I've outlined my expectations. Any other questions, just refer back to that order. It says it as proverbial in black and white. So with that, we're concluding for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.